Hi, I'm Anthony Marinelli, and I'm back at Kevin Maloney's studio with the Synclavier to give you a more in-depth look at the Beat It intro sound. So in our first version of this saga, we were starting with the soundtrack album for the Synclavier. What was the original name of that album?
The
Amazing
Incredible Sounds of the Synclavier II.
That's it.
Demo record.
Yes. And so Kevin was queuing up the Beat It sound, and we were showing you how we could call up the factory preset of that sound. Today we want to take a deep dive into it and give you a full breakdown of how it's made up so that you can do this on your FM synthesizers. Probably you could do it on the Arturia version, and certainly you could do it on the Synclavier Go, which is the iPad version. And that's available for not too much money, maybe
like $30, something like that. Yeah.
So that's available out there if you guys want to get your hands on the sound, and it'll be a close version of the sound, but we'll show you exactly how it's built. Okay, so Kevin's going to call up the sound on this monitor. That's a replacement for the old original green screen monitor. Synclavier switched to Mac at one point. So is it on the hard drive that you're pulling it from?
Yes.
Okay, right, there's 8 banks of 8 on this monitor. And
this one originally was, show it was full.
So what he just turned the wheel to show you that you can see 1 to 8 polyphony. That just means that if a sound rings out, it'll keep ringing. It won't cut off the tail. The original Beat It sound, we believe, is a monophonic sound, right?
Yes.
So it doesn't ring. So Kevin's going to switch it down to 1 polyphony. You can see that here.
The magic knob.
So that the sound doesn't ring across. So I guess start by playing the sound. You can hear what it sounds like.
Full sound.
Nice clean ring. Yeah. And just to illustrate what that would have sounded like if it was 128, give a few notes of that. A lot sloppier, ringier.
Overlapping, yeah.
Good sound though too. So we're gonna, in the spirit of the original, be down to a monophonic sound, singular polyphony.
And there was no stereo yet on the Synclavier voices at that time. They added stereo panning to the FM voices later on. Oh, these are also, they're all 8-bit digital, 8-bit ratio.
Right. And on Synclavier Go, if you were to do it, or on Arturia, I think you can get a higher resolution.
You can go up to 24-bit on those, and you can even go down to like 2-bit, I think.
Right. Yeah. So make sure if you're trying to make this sound on a different FM synthesizer, you got to get to about 8-bit because that
Otherwise,
gives you the character.
It'll be too clean if you go to 24-bit, and we could even show that on the iPad Go.
Okay.
We could see how much cleaner it would sound at 24-bit.
So when we get done here, we'll go over to the Synclavier Go and show you what's going on there. So Synclavier, again, has a specific kind of method called the partial timbre method. And this sound, right, is comprised of 4 partial timbres. So that just means it's like multi-timbral. Like if you had a Jupiter 8, you could get 2 sounds at once on 1 note. But with the Synclavier, we're going to be able to get 4 sounds at once on 1 note. So Kevin's going to show you the first partial.
Okay, partial 1.
That's what it sounds like.
Partial 2. Partial 3.
Just the attack. And did you hear that slide?
Yeah, the portamento.
So partial timbre 3 has some portamento on it.
Yeah, on the far right, where the button is lit.
I haven't been over here in a while. So right there, you can see portamento on.
And you could have, there are different types. You could have...
and there's your rate.
Right, and it could either be linear or logarithmic.
You know, not too fast, not too slow of a portamento. See how it's sliding? But that's the only one that's sliding. Like, partial timbre 4 is not sliding. There's no portamento. And there's no portamento on these guys either. Just 3. Okay, so now we can break down the first partial.
Yeah. Now look at the harmonics. Start building it up for just the additive harmonics, sine wave harmonics. 100%, 50%, 25, 12, 6, 3. You said that was basically like a sawtooth wave.
Yeah, so what he's doing right here, these are each individual sine waves. So it's like a wavetable. And essentially, you start with a fundamental, you add an octave, then a fifth, then an octave, then a third and a fifth, and another octave, and then a seventh, and then an octave.
Right.
So you're getting these harmonics, and they're decaying at these percentages. So if the fundamental is at 100%, then the next harmonic is about half the volume level, and then another half the volume level, and then half the volume level again. So it's kind of like a sawtooth wave in terms of its harmonic content.
So we want to go through the harmonic envelope next and see what the modulator is doing. We'll look at the how much of the FM is in this on each partial. So partial 1, we've got no sustain. We have a peak, full-on peak. Final decay of over 7 seconds. Initial decay a little over 4 seconds. That would be the rise, and then the attack. There's a little bit of a slope ramp up to that.
Yeah. So let's
delays on there.
show what it sounds like. So we have full peak. If we had less than full peak, and you just wanted to hear the wavetable, that's the harmonics that I was describing. So now adding FM, I'll slowly add it. So what's happening is you're modulating that carrier frequency a lot, as much as you possibly can on the synthesizer, and at these rates, and with this much final decay. So without final decay, you know, it's going to be short.
That's cool. Cool sound too.
So it rings out. And then, are we chorusing? Or we're chorusing the whole
we're chorusing
sound?
everything, the whole thing. We'll go to show that.
We'll do that
the
later.
End. Yeah. Want to call up the original again since we played with this. So we're on. So we'll look at the volume envelope next. Or tuning, partial tuning as well. So that was at 440 bass. 440 there, maybe.
Yeah.
The difference in the tuning of the partials: 441, 220.7, 224.6.
So partials 3 and 4 are an octave lower.
Right.
Partials 1 and 2 are at the higher octave. So the sound is in octaves. When you're playing one note, you're getting octaves.
Right. Okay, so volume envelope, no delay, no attack, so it's a very short attack. Initial decay, coming down. Final decay, sticky button. Pretty long on that.
And you can see the timing's in milliseconds, so that's 1.5 seconds.
Right. The peak is full on that one, volume is full. Okay, you want to look at the FM ratio. Quite
So the FM ratio is different on this one.
Yeah, they're all different.
They're all different.
A little bit.
And that's the original sound? Can you try calling it up one more time to be sure?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's why we have kind of a gongy-like sound. Because with most FM engines, you're going to be starting out with an FM ratio of 1. Okay, so here's what it would sound like. And we have a full peak, yeah. So this is what it would sound like. But when you have this crazy FM ratio...
Just play it. Was it 4 something?
496.
3.5? 96.
I think, wasn't it? 3.496. So they're all the same. Oh, 3.5.
Very close.
Oh, they're all different.
Slightly.
Go ahead and call it up again. We'll see exactly what it was. 3.496, yeah.
Good then.
And look at that. The second one was 3.503. The third partial is 3.483.
And the combination of that and then the difference of the tuning of the partials too gives it a lot going on.
A lot of clang.
We should show them what it would be like without the chorusing. The Synclavier adds another voice. The chorus is not like your typical stereo chorus. It just doubles the voices that you have. So you just take all of those voices. So if you were playing it without chorus, it would be 4 voices, 4 partials, 4 voices. You hit the overall chorus just slightly up. So it's making another copy of the sound a little bit higher in pitch.
So here's without chorusing. This is the original sound, all 4 partials.
Wait, let's call it up again just to make sure we got
Okay, and then no chorusing.
Okay, yeah. Wow. Very different.
Really
Now
different.
dial it up to 8 here. Wow.
So much of the character of the sound is coming from the chorusing.
Yep.
Let's try it again with no chorusing.
Wow.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, now chorusing.
Oops.
So it's making a copy of the sound a little bit higher in
pitch
pitch.
Yep.
That's incredible. What a difference. So now we'll go to the second partial,
Yeah.
soloed.
Let's look at our built for our basic waveform with our harmonics. 100%, 50.3, 24.6. So similar, but they're dialing down faster.
It's over.
Yep. Yeah,
So
only
there were
4
8
harmonics.
harmonics on the first sound, 8, and then the second partial only has 4 harmonics, and then no more harmonics.
Right.
And full peak and
Big full peak and sustain. Oh, no sustain.
No
so
sustain.
Peak, so a little bit of an attack, so it's a little slower.
right, it just spits a little bit.
decay, 4 seconds, and 7 seconds on the final decay.
Right.
Right. And then we looked at the FM ratio on that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, we did that.
A different FM ratio
tuning.
though.
Right. Okay, so now look at the volume envelope. No delay, no attack, little attack. So the attack up to the peak, like a little less, like 89 milliseconds. Final decay is 1.5 seconds. Peak full, no sustain. If you hold the key down, that's what you would get. But because we have a long final decay on both the envelope, the harmonic envelope and the volume envelope.
Yeah, if you play short, just like if you have a decay time on an analog synthesizer, down low and a lot of release time, if you just play a note and hold it, the decay time will go to 0 and then there's nothing to release when you release your hand. But if you go fast, there's still decay left and then the release will carry it from there.
It's the sound.
So you can articulate it that way.
Yeah. Right.
Very articulated.
So we're going to the next third partial. We got a little bit less, lower first harmonic, dialing down even quicker. Almost nothing, and going back up a little bit.
Yeah, so these are just kind of random. They don't emulate like a sawtooth kind of waveform as the carrier frequency at all. They were just kind of waveforms, harmonics that just sounded good. Whoever was made. Did Denny actually make this preset? Do you know?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
It's what we believe.
Yeah,
and we're always giving you the information as we know it. And when we find more information, that's how it kind of works with history. Right. We get information as we get it. But to our best knowledge, Denny made this preset, and we're telling you how this particular preset is made.
So we're on to the harmonic envelope on this one. No delay, no attack, no initial decay. This is the short one too.
Right.
This
doesn't have any harmonic peak.
Right.
So this sound doesn't move at all.
So it raises up.
It's just like an organ.
Right.
And it just acts like an attack because it's not moving really.
We already looked at the FM ratios, important tuning. Going to fourth partial?
Yeah, we can go on.
Okay, look at the harmonics.
And this is also an octave lower.
Right.
3 and 4 are an octave lower than partials 1 and 2.
And we got full first harmonic, second harmonic about half. Quick, dying down quick on the third harmonic, fourth harmonic. Synclavier actually can go up to 24 harmonics, but I don't think they used much of them on the original timbres.
Yeah.
They stuck to the first 12. It was quite a few.
Well,
harmonics.
when you add FM, it gets really hashy.
So we had six.
So 6 harmonics on this one.
Nothing.
So 8 harmonics, 8 harmonics on 2, 8 harmonics on 1, 8 harmonics on 2, 4 harmonics on. No, actually, how many were there?
Oh, this is 4.
Yeah, 4 on 3. Right. That's right.
That one had more.
Oh, 3 has more. Let me review that again. So kind of a sawtooth on 1, and then
8, and this one has that.
Just 4 on partial timbre 2. And then you said 6, right?
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Nope, 11.
11 on partial timbre 3, and then on partial timbre 4, there were 6.
6.
And these ratios are 100, 50, 16, 8, 6, 13, 100, 50, 16, 6, 13, 11.
You guys paying attention?
And then it's over.
It's a lot
Yeah,
of
I mean,
numbers.
it's just that these are more random. They're just like by ear, however you want to bring out harmonics to make it sound really gongy and belly. And that's the thing, when you're making these kind of FM sounds and you're using a wavetable like this, just use your ear and just dial these things in because it's so unpredictable. And you'll just find these, don't you just find notches that all of a sudden magic happens?
Oh, yeah.
That's usually how it worked for me.
Especially when you get to those odd FM ratios, you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, you can't know. And then this FM ratio means it's like 3 octaves up plus some almost like, is that a third or it's almost a fifth, right?
Yeah, it was 0.5.
Because 3.5 would be a fifth.
3 octaves and a half. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's creating like 3 octaves and a fifth overtones, like with the FM. That's basically what's happening with all of these, which is pretty complex.
I actually didn't explain this earlier, that with the Synclavier, you can solo a partial. When it's blinking, you only hear that partial and you can make changes on it, only solo that partial. With the Synclavier, you could change 2 partials at a time, while while they're blinking, you could be changing them, but only listening to those 2. Or you could change 2, but still listen to all of them when they're not blinking. So you can, combinations of changing them all, or you're changing them all and hearing them all. So what I only want to change, I want to listen, but I want to change, maybe I want to change partial 3 while listening to everything. So I change the FM ratio of just partial 3 while listening to everything.
Awesome sound.
By itself.
So now
we
it's
get lucky
soloed.
sometimes and like, hey, that's a cool new sound.
Well, that's a
And we
good
say
point,
it.
because when you're creating sounds on the Synclavier, you could do any combination of hearing the existing sounds or not hearing them, or hearing just parts of them and just eliminating 1 or 2. And then partial timbre 4, you can kind of quickly review what's going on there. The coefficients are 100, 50, 16, 6, 13, 11. These kind of jumped around, and then nothing after that. And then there's no peak in the harmonics, so it's just basically a static FM amount, and it's at this FM ratio, and then this sounds like that. So these 2 are very similar, 3 and 4.
Let's call up the original just to
Okay.
get back to square one.
That's with the chorusing. That's 3 and 4, and here's 1 and 2. They're very similar, so you put them together and you get that. Now you can hear it, that bang at the beginning. So if I didn't have that 3 and 4 in, there's no bang. Bring in 3 and 4, you hear that bang. And just 3 and 4. This is key. This is what makes the sound good. So the critical components are the chorusing. And then add the chorusing back to the original sound.
Very complex sound.
It is a very complex sound. So it's basically an 8-voice sound, because you have 4 partial timbres and they're all doubled with the chorusing. And complex also because the octave ratio creates like crazy sidebands and, a very complex FM sound. And believe it, it's still kind of pitched, isn't it?
Yeah.
It still works.
I had some fun with it once. I was using the repeat rate. Pretty fast. Multiple voices, maybe 2 voices. The song.
Pretty interesting. It sounds like a sample.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? Sounds a lot like a sample. It's a nice ring there. So I guess we'll move over to the Synclavier Go and show you what's going on there.
Let's do it.
Please remember to like and subscribe. We have a great team and we like making these videos for you, and that really helps us be able to continue. So I'm back with Kevin in front of the Synclavier Go, which is the iPad app for Synclavier. And we're going to show you how to get this sound on this device. If you get this, it's about $30. I think we mentioned that earlier for iPad. And if you go to timbre disc 1, and it's sound number 1, 2.
Galactic symbol.
Called Galactic Symbol.
Call that guy out.
And if you do that,
then we go over to the parameters.
So you can see that on the screen, right?
I think the first thing we want to do is
let's play it first.
Okay. All right.
See how different it is.
It reacts a little bit differently.
It does react differently.
The amount of the key, how long the key is held down or struck.
So Synclavier Go does react a little bit differently and sounds a little bit different.
Let's put it in mono mode, so mono re-trigger, so only one note at a time.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
The notes are not overlapping. So that is, at default, the bit depth in that is what the original was 8-bit. You can change the bit ratio, and sometimes that changes the harmonics a little bit.
The bit depth.
The bit depth. So right now we're at 8-bit, so if we want to dial it down, let's dial it back.
So 8-bit depth on the iPad is going to be the same bit depth as the original Synclavier, because that was an 8-bit
we
sound generator.
Some of the odd sounds that had different harmonics, and then the FM get a little bit more of a buzz if we went and we were matching sound side by side at one point. We actually found things like we liked 6-bit. Let's try the 6-bit. There, I was striking it different.
It's how you play the key. So he was kind of picking his finger up quicker, because if you just let it ring, it's kind of splays, right? But if you release quickly, you get more of that gong, which is more of these partials.
We don't have any of the reverb on it either. We were showing it earlier how adding the reverb made it sound more like the original
I'll go back to the
sound
full
on the
sound.
record.
So that's the full sound. You have reverb now?
Yeah, I think so. Real quick, yeah. That's 6-bit. Let's just, for fun, let's try a 4-bit.
Very sensitive, though.
Try a 4-bit.
Go ahead.
My turn. Well, if I strike it right. Let me try that again. No, I got it quicker. I gotta get it just right. Yeah, 4-bit's a little odd.
Yeah. So the closest, wouldn't you think was 8?
Yeah,
or did you like 6 better?
8 or 6. We can go back to the default of 8.
So we checked all the numbers on the Synclavier Go, which is this iPad app, and they all match up the numbers that we were looking at earlier on the original Synclavier.
Here's partial 1. The coefficients are the same. Partial 2.
Look exactly the same.
And the FM ratios were the same.
3.496, just like we had remembered from before. 3.503, 3.483, and partial timbre 4, 3.493. So they all match.
Mm-hmm.
And
even the portamento on partial 3 is there.
Right.
You only hear a little bit when the notes are close, but
yeah, but it's just enough. I mean, it's designed very carefully. There's like a lot of little nuance in here. And then the chorus, we noticed that was, it's this chorus.
Yeah, that was well.
That's the overall chorus, and it looks like at 1.008, which is the same chorusing. So it's a copy of the sound, slightly detuned like above.
One of the things that we tried to explain when this came out was the software. People think, oh, it's an emulation of the Synclavier. Well, the Synclavier was a digital instrument, digital computer program. Cameron Jones ported over the code into these other engines. So it's still a digital, it's closer to what a digital synthesizer would be than it would be if it was an analog modeling type of thing. So it is digital, it's the same. The code is very similar, the numbers and the math are very, very close.
The only difference is it doesn't go through a big block of hardware like the original Synclavier, right? Because the original Synclavier was all digital in the computer, and then it went through analog hardware, which did give it a sound, I would assume, right? Because that's what we all like today, is like running through hardware, right?
Right.
So this is, like Kevin's saying, like purely digital. I mean, what in terms of hardware, do you know what's there? I mean, there's a cable going into a jack. There's hardware there, but is there an actual converter? There has to be some sort of A to D or D to A.
We're running the iPad out into, I have a little Soundcraft mixer which has a USB port in, so we're not running off the headphone jack or anything, which you can do, which actually sounds pretty good too, that way. But so it's the same it would be as a DAW converter.
Yeah, but the point is, with this app for $30, you can get close to the Synclavier.
And it has lots more voices too. So you have, Synclavier most of them had a limit of 32 individual voices. So with this, you can play hundreds of voices at once and don't run out.
Yeah, that's amazing. That was always a big issue. We had to buy voices. Now you get it all.
Cheap. They weren't
cheap. And this is not a paid ad. This is just Kevin and I passing on this information to all of you so that you can make these sounds, because we live in an age now where there's accessibility, and it's up to your creativity to what you can do with it. And of course, always the song that you put these sounds in. That's what's going to make them something special.
And if you really want an inexpensive app, there's a Synclavier Pocket, Synclavier, just like the Synclavier Go, the same app.
I didn't even know that.
You didn't know? I think might be free or $5 or something like that. But yeah, you could do the same.
Is there a galactic symbol on there?
Yes, there is.
Let's see.
It's Bank 1 Entry 2. Wait, I'll turn it up. So I gotta go down an octave, I think. There it is.
Yeah. Actually sounds
it sounds better.
Really good on that.
Yeah, it does sound good.
What is that called?
Synclavier Pocket. Let's see the little.
So another route. I mean, 40 years later, that's what we have.
Synclavier Pocket. We always wanted.
So really glad that we can follow up, Kevin's first outing with the Beat It video and give you like a full breakdown. And any other questions you have, please keep sending your comments. Remember to like and subscribe us. We work really hard to do these videos. It's truly a labor of love, and we want to keep going, and that's really all we need to keep us going. So thank you. Look forward to next round.